Man with a pew-pew threatened protesters in Lafayette anti-Trump rally. The police. Man was defending self. This man did not take too kindly to this rally. And what happened? Well, it seems to be a trend happening these days. He fucked around and found out. Now, he was taken into custody, but was released. Because as the police stated, he was defending himself. So he got due process. So let me get this straight. No due process. No due process. Got due process. Oh, right. It's almost like they don't like brown people. He got due process. Anybody that has been unlawfully sent to El Salvador deserved the same. We are fucking hypocrites.
A tariff is a tax on Americans. A tariff isn't paid by the exporter. China's not going to pay the tariff. The buyer's going to pay the tariff.
Donald Trump has proposed a 40% tariff, which is a tax on all of you. I think raising your taxes by 40% would kill jobs.
China wins when we fight with Europe. China wins when the American consumer has higher prices because of tariffs.
Now with a 10% tariff laid down, who pays that tariff? The American workers and the American companies pay the brunt of all those.
You know, the highest tariff levels in the history of this country, the Smoot-Hawley tariffs. There's little doubt that these protectionist barriers that were put up made the Great Depression worse.
Generalized tariff that would actually harm allies, harm American consumers, by the way. I just don't believe anybody wins a trade war. I just think there's so much collateral damage. I think it's a very...
Their words, not mine. But yes, do tell in this current climate how jobs are going to come back to America because of the tariffs.
Democrats are losing their mind on this one, folks. Trump has announced that he will run for a third term. Golly, this is my dream. Like I am so thankful that I'm living during this time. Now everybody's saying, Clary, how's that going to happen? Well, one way is JD could run for presidency and he'd win because, of course, we're basically, he'll get it. And then he'll just pass it along to Trump. If that's not the route that they want to take, there's other loopholes that can get this done. But the left and the Democrats are losing it because another term with Trump, what would they do? What would they do? Best news I've heard all day.
I've been getting a lot of this lately. Not MAGA content per se, but content of people giving monumental bad takes and then getting ratioed. Aside from the base level information of we have the 22nd Amendment, you cannot serve more than 2 terms. But Steve Bannon and anybody on that side of the aisle are going to argue that, well, not consecutive terms. So in terms of that, it's never going to happen. But that's not the point. He is going to try his damnedest to do so. Even it going through the channels of getting amended, there's not enough support for it. But let's go to the age factor now. We all knew that Joe Biden was way too old to run, but it was the best option we had in 2020. And Donnie was defeated. As time went along, in 2023, he should have outwardly said, I am not seeking re-election. Because by that point, he was 82. When 2028 rolls around, Donnie will be 82. He is now the old guy. As much as we like and love our elder relatives, do you want them running something? Particularly the Oval Office. What's driving us nuts is not the fact that he wants to run for a third term, is the fact that he has been emboldened to by the court system and his sycophants. Everybody in his cabinet, everybody in Congress and the Supreme Court knows that he can't. But by the same token, these are the same people that protected him in 2021, not voting to convict him in the Senate, making up presidential immunity, not clearly understanding that under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, he should not be on the ballot. We're going nuts because people are treating this as if it's a viable option, or that this is all normal. Everybody wanted change. Everybody wanted prices to go down. Do you feel that same way today? He said that free speech is back. ... You can be racist again. Because free speech had never left. You might have lost your job. You might have been suspended. But you weren't sent to a gulag in El Salvador. Now, if you speak bad about Israel, or may have made a bad post about Donnie in the past, you're deported. That's not free speech. The man that says that he loves the military, call them suckers and losers. American soldiers died in Lithuania. And what is he doing? Well, he's out fucking golfing still. By the way, Brad Faxon, that's why you are getting fucking ratioed. Because while people's 401ks are evaporating, losing their job, nobody gives a shit about this plastic bag full of broken light bulbs' golf game. American soldiers died, and he is in Florida trying to help the merger between LIV and the PGA. LIV is a PIF from Saudi Arabia. So you have all of that with his little golf excursions. By the way, he won another tournament at his own resort. And you know, I haven't heard a peep from people that criticized Biden during the Afghan withdrawal. Just like after Signalgate, I didn't hear a lot of people about Hillary's emails anymore. And trust me, we sit back and laugh because y'all are not consistent. But let's play with that theory. So you claim that when the next election rolls around in 2028, you think that J.D. Vance is just going to run away with it, basically. By the way, you would have to get him and his tiny little Vance off of the couch. But I honestly don't think that you guys would have that much of a rallying cry around him, because he does not possess the charisma that you guys love Donnie for so much. But they are basically the same bowl of shit. The only difference is the smell. Now, would MAGA wither away? I don't know. But there would be no more cult of personality. And honestly, that kind of sounds refreshing. But again, that's 3.5 years from now. We don't know what's going to happen 3.5 months from now. Hell, we don't even know what's going to happen 3.5 weeks from now. But I do think one or a couple of these things will eventually happen. None of what's going on is sustainable. It is going to reach a tipping point. There's already been a small opening shown from people like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. Either eventually there's enough Republicans in Congress that actually stands up and really does take a stand against Donnie, because this affects their constituents. This affects the people that they represent. Someone is finally going to stand up and say, enough is enough. Because just like Mitch McConnell, and the rest of Congress needs to realize this, they possess the power over him. Once Donnie does not benefit them politically, I do believe there would be enough support for him to get impeached and then convicted and removed. But someone just needs to sack up and do it. But ultimately, Father Time will eventually catch up to him. So this is all to say that it's not the fact that he wants to run for a third term. It's the fact that he thinks he can, because there has been no backbone or no blockade from anyone. That's including the Democrats. McConnell should have voted to convict him in 2021. Biden should have used his political advantage of using presidential immunity to make sure that that motherfucker should not have been on the ballot ever again. But everybody as a whole made the mistake of thinking that it was never going to get this bad. So if you still want to support him, you go right ahead. But don't frame it as patriotism, and don't frame it as being a good Christian.
It's bloody Black Monday. Holy moly. The Kamala crash is here. Kamala needs to get in front of a camera today. People are losing their homes today. People are losing their fortunes today. People are losing their futures today. People are losing their 401ks today. This is shaping up to be one of the worst market days in American history. Losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. Were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing. In fact, it builds quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons, actually, by losing.
Bene, whoa, whoa, you lying fuck. This didn't get the attention that I thought it needed yesterday, but I thought that this was important. Now, it went the way I think we all thought it was going to go. It was a 5-4 decision saying that the court agrees that the Trump can enact the Aliens Enemies Act, though they did not litigate in deciding if it was constitutional or not. But to me, what was more important is that all 9 agreed that they deserve due process. However, I find it infuriating that Alito, Gorsuch, Thomas, Kavanaugh, and Roberts did not criticize Donnie at all for how this has been handled. If you're going to say that they deserve due process, then criticize the administration on how they handled all this. More than 100 people have been sent to El Salvador, most of them with no criminal history at all. Nearly all of these moves are impeachable. Someone needs to stand up and make the motion.
It's official. Our tax dollars are now going to be used to fund DHS scouring our social media posts in order to find evidence to deport people. In case you missed it, this is directly off of the government's website. The Department of Homeland Security will be utilizing technology to go through social media posts in an attempt to identify anti-Semitic comments and or content. That information will then be used as evidence necessary to deport people or revoke visas and possibly even green card status here in the United States. I intended to do a post today about the Alien Enemies Act and the most recent Supreme Court decision, but instead I'm doing this post because I think that this is germane to a lot of people out there. Now, what does anti-Semitic mean for purposes of this issue? Obviously, you should not be saying anti-Semitic things. That's just like a terrible thing anyway. But this administration has historically interpreted any pro-Palestine, pro-Gaza commentary as anti-Semitic. We've seen that young student from Tufts who had her visa revoked on her way to dinner with friends because she published an op-ed with the school's paper. We've also seen that South Korean student who participated in a couple of pro-Palestine rallies. That was enough to get her visa revoked. My point is, wherever you stand on this issue, it does not take a lot for this administration and the agencies working under that administration to determine that your visa should be revoked. Now, when we talk about social media content, what does that even mean? It's not limited to those people who are posting every single day about Gaza. All you need to have posted is one post that this administration deems anti-Semitic, and you can potentially have your visa revoked. It doesn't even require posting. If you have commented on another person's post that can potentially be deemed pro-Palestine and or anti-Semitic, you can have your visa revoked. Like I said, this may not even be limited to visas. It can be expanded to green card holders. This administration has repeatedly indicated that that is as much a unilateral decision as visa revocation. What does all of this mean? It means if you're a visa holder or a green card holder, potentially even a naturalized citizen of the United States.
As I've stated in past videos, it is going to be up to the administration's discretion to find out what is and what is not free speech, which at the bare minimum is just flat out not free speech. It is not anti-Semitic to suggest that we should stop unaliving innocent women and children. It is not anti-Semitic to suggest that what Bibi is doing is wrong. It is not anti-Semitic to suggest that trying to annex Gaza is a war crime. People were taking a defiant stance during the pandemic, and people said it was free speech and medical freedom, even though they were systematically putting people in harm's way by not wearing a mask or refusing to get the vaccine. January 6th was apparently free speech. Charlottesville was apparently free speech. It is not free speech if you have to litigate what you like and what you don't like. I see monumental bad takes every day on this app. Some that are nonsensical, stuff that is just flat out wrong, stuff that is the complete polar opposite of my beliefs. But I, in no way, shape, or form, am advocating for those people to be scooped up in the street and sent to a gulag. I want people out there, plus the administration, to know that you are not pro-crime or pro-terrorist to suggest that people that you deem are criminals, please provide how they are. We have due process for a reason. So I can't believe that we have reached a point that we dare criticize something that the president has done, and that would be viewed as a crime or having your legal status in this country be revoked. If these people went through the legal channels to get legal citizenship in this country, it should not be tampered with because they executed their right of free speech. This is not what I was taught growing up. This is not anything that I've ever believed about this country. I have friends that have gone through the process and their status is threatened because of what they may or may not say. I have a responsibility to speak on this because their rights have been threatened. So if you're for those students getting scooped up by ICE for speaking their mind, or if you're for all those people being sent to El Salvador mistakenly, if you're for all that, then I exercise my free speech. Go fuck yourself.
Don't panic, okay? You've got a president who understands business.
I am grateful for a commander-in-chief that has the business acumen.
Luckily, we have a businessman in the White House right now.
The president did write the book, The Art of the Deal.
Trump is a master negotiator, and he does know the art of the deal.
We're supposed to trust this guy because he wrote The Art of the Deal. That's it. You ever say, I got the book, Art of the Deal. Yeah, that's why we're supposed to trust him. You ever look at chapter 9 in Art of the Deal? It's about how smart Trump is about his casino in Atlantic City. Oh, yeah, chapter 9. I built a casino in Atlantic City. I'm a business genius. Whatever happened to the casino, Donald? Trust me.
I mean, I have nothing else to add. He better be alive. He better be alive. Did everything right to become a citizen. He is here legally. And we don't know where he's at. There's no reason why this administration cannot give any details on where he is at currently. If something happened to him, Rubio, Noem, whomever, need to be in fucking handcuffs. And this whole discussion about presidential immunity needs to be called back into questioning. Because if this led to the unaliving of an American citizen when he was illegally sent to El Salvador, it should be first-degree murder. I do not know Garcia, but I am in mortal fear that something happened. I fear for Mahmoud Khalif. I fear for the woman that wrote that op-ed. He better be alive. Otherwise, an American citizen's passing is on this administration's hands. So are we for law and order, or are we not? We can't say we can't possibly bring this one guy back. By the way, you can get the Tate brothers back, but you can't get Kilmer Garcia back. We can't say that we're for law and order and then release 1,500 criminals back into the streets. We can't say we're law and order when we're openly cuddling up to a dictator. And I know you all saw the hot mic moment. They want to deport regular American citizens to anybody that criticizes or disagrees with them. Law and order is not law and order anymore. Law and order is what they deem it is. And now you have Stephen Miller trying to redefine what the Supreme Court ruled. Anybody with an 8th grade reading level knows they said, bring him back. This is a dangerous moment, but we are officially in the 2 words I didn't want to say. We are in a constitutional crisis.
I took my cognitive exam as part of my physical exam, and I got the highest mark, and one of the doctors said, sir, I've never seen anybody get that kind of them. That was the highest mark. I hope you're happy with that, although they haven't been bugging me too much to take a cognitive, but I did do my physical, and it was released. I hope you're all happy with it. I notice there's no question, so probably you are. But the cognitive, they said to me, sir, would you like to take a cognitive test? I said, did Biden take one? No. Did anybody take one? No, not too many people took them. I said, what about Obama? Did he take one? No, he didn't take one either. I said, let me be the only one to take one.
Well, I don't know what a cognitive test is. This is man, woman, camera all over again. I got it all, and if you get it all, you get extra points. And your physical, I believe, as much as I believe that you are anti-WAR. This man is trying to undo everything about our way of living, and he's talking about his health, which mirrors everything else. Shitty. You say you are 6'3", 225 pounds. If that is the case, I am Iron Man. This shit gets more and more aggravating every day.
It must be so good to be stupid because they seem to be having such a good time right now. And instead, I'm over here, a person who has read a book, who has watched a documentary and has pattern recognition, noticing that the President of the United States saying that the homegrowns are next means that United States citizens are going to be sent to foreign prisons. That's what that means. The President of the United States has repeatedly now said that the homegrowns are next. He's saying it while currently defying a unanimous Supreme Court decision. Did you not know that? Just a few days ago, the Supreme Court told the President of the United States, as well as the Secretary of State and the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security and so many other people that we pay a lot of money to run our government. The Supreme Court told them, hey, you sent a man down to El Salvador by mistake. You should bring him back. And now the president is saying no. And the president of El Salvador, where the massive prison is, with blood that we can see from space, Katy Perry herself waving at it, all the way up there next to a Google satellite where we get our maps from. That president also said no. Two presidents suddenly powerless to remove a man that they both have shoved into an 80-person cell. And while all of this is happening, the President of the United States says the homegrown are next. And homegrown, that means U.S. citizens. That means people born here in America who believe that they're covered by the Bill of Rights. Remember the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Eighth Amendment? For those of you guys not familiar with the Eighth Amendment, go check it out now because we don't have it much longer. Because if he can send people to a foreign prison that we can never get them out of, then he can sentence anyone to death for any reason. Because that's what that means. That's what that means. And unfortunately, I'm not dumb, and so I know this. Anyone else who isn't stupid can see it. There's a few people who are greedy who are ignoring it, but we all now know it. It's right there. It's right around the corner, baby. Peeking at us, asking us, come to the cabaret, old chum. Life is a cabaret.
The only thing that any of us have asked in this whole ordeal with Kilmer Garcia is please provide any shred of evidence that he is MS-13, any evidence that he is a criminal, any evidence whatsoever that says that he is a danger to society. And the only thing that we have gotten is, trust me, bro, 75% of the people that have been sent to El Salvador have had no criminal record. And the ones that do have a criminal record are nonviolent. I know it goes without saying, but Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, any hardcore right-leaning conservative talking point is lying to you. Subject has no criminal history. So again, to the administration, if you have evidence that we have not seen, please present it. They won't, because they have none. Even from the efforts of Pee Wee Germans saying that the Supreme Court was in our favor is laughable. There is nothing from that Supreme Court decision that would give any wiggle room to say that that went into the Trump administration's favor. And now President Bukaki is fancying himself an internet troll. This was the picture that was making the rounds yesterday. They're sitting down at the table. They're clearly having water and coffee. And Van Hollen, when he returned, said that was bullshit. In the midst of all that, during their discussion, they laid these glasses in front of them with some gimmick sugar on top of the glass to make it look like they were having margaritas. Bro, your prison is a hellscape. It's not Bermuda. So y'all can stop the smear campaign against this man. You're so desperate to frame this man as a criminal when you have nothing. All you've given us is he's gotten tattooed and is wearing a Bulls hat. So you're either a boomer or a Utah Jazz fan. So, by the rules that we have lived by all our lives, so if you committed a crime, you have to go through all the channels just like the rest of us. Even if I disagree with you politically, socially, you still get due process. Period. Enough of this nonsense. Bring this man home, and I hope his wife sues the fuck out of all of you. He did it again. Serious observation and question, but what is your guys' definition of best and brightest? Is best and brightest dumb and drunk? I tried posting this yesterday and the video got flagged, so let me try it again. But if this is proof that Kilmer Garcia is part of the MS-13, wow. I have a tattoo. Does that make me MS-13? But if we're going to go that route, I give you Secretary of Signal Chat. As I said over the weekend, you guys are so desperate for this man to be a criminal, but you simp for a guy that is a 34-time convicted felon, a criminal in a suit. Obviously not here. This is a melted candle in a trash bag. By the way, I don't want to hear the word deportation anymore. Deportation insinuates that there was due process. This was kidnapping. This was human trafficking. Saying he was here illegally, he shouldn't get due process, is the whitest thing I think I've ever heard. Who knew that throwing a couple of schmatzy hand gestures and gutting programs that help everyday Americans illegally hacking into all of our personal data? Who knew that would get you such grief? Elon, from all of our hearts to you, fuck your feelings. I'm about to show you a clip from Andrew Schultz, and it highlights something that is pissing me off to no end, because it shows to me that guys like Andrew and everybody in the broadcast sphere are either dumb as fuck or they just don't care. Watch this.
I'd switched so much. You know, when I was younger, like, Democrats were cool. They were getting their fucked in the office. They were like, right? They were like, they were like supportive of like hip hop music. They said, do whatever you want. Like, we don't want to be in your bedroom. They were cool with gay people. Like, it was cool to be a Democrat. Now, conservatives got 3 baby mamas. The president got 3 baby mamas. He's getting left and right. Right? He's cool. He's the one saying, say whatever the fuck you want. So now conservatives have become Democrats. So I don't think I've changed. I just like the dudes that get to say whatever they want. So it's very, you want me to be a Democrat again? Guess tell me to say whatever I want. I'm there.
I am getting sick and tired of these broadcast crybabies making it seem like that they can't say what they want. And to be clear, when they make statements like that, they're saying that they want to be able to say gay slurs, racial slurs, what have you, and suffer absolutely no consequences. You can't criticize me. None of that. That should be a thing. Andrew, you, Theo Von, Rogan, whoever, all still have a platform. At no time has your free speech been threatened. It used to be cool in the Democratic Party to get your joystick toggled and be into rap music and all that. Now you can't say anything. Did you watch Kamala's campaign? Megan Thee Stallion, Beyonce, Taylor Swift endorsement, famous actor, actresses, athletes? Were you not paying attention, or were you just hiding under Rogan's ballsack? You can say whatever you want. Again, if you get clapback from people, that comes with the territory. What you're missing is that people are getting scooped up off the street for having tattoos, having the wrong skin color, writing op-eds saying, you know what, I don't think we should unalive women and children. Andrew, you never had to walk down the street and wonder if ICE is going to scoop you up. No one's calling for your show to be defunded or deplatformed or anything like that because of a disagreement. If you are for free speech, then you need to criticize your boy. That goes for Donnie, that goes for Theo Von, that goes for Joe Rogan, that goes for anybody that you are in that circle with. Your free speech has never been threatened. It wasn't under Biden, it wasn't under Obama, it wasn't under anybody. You guys like Donnie because of the vibes. That's it. Christians love him, and he is the most unchristian-like human being on the planet, starting off with cheating on all of his wives. If that's a flex, okay. If you are for free speech, you are for the return of Kilmer Garcia, you are for the release of Mahmoud Khalil, you are for the student that wrote the op-ed, you are for the people that disagree with you, and you're for the people that criticize Donald Trump. So I don't care if you go back to the Democrats. Just be fucking consistent. Otherwise, you're just a phony.
What is happening? Like, this is not America. This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the f up, because I'm ready to get on.
You can't call this anything else than schmatzy shit. The tiniest bit of pushback, arrests. That's why Pam Bondi, Kash Patel were all lying to you when they said that we're not going to go after political opponents. We're not going to weaponize the government. That right there is the purest definition of weaponizing the government. Our country has our own version of the brown shirts. I'm going to recite 2 quotes, and I want you to see if you can spot the difference. Quote, "The powers of the president will not be questioned," end quote. Next one, quote, "To announce that there must be no criticism of the president, or that we are to stand by the president, right or wrong, is not only unpatriotic and servile, but is morally treasonable to the American public," end quote. The first quote, to the surprise of no one, was Stephen Miller. The second quote was Theodore Roosevelt. Do you spot the difference? Stephen Miller is the prime example of what the cuckery is in Trump's cabinet, and that his other sycophants are showing. Theodore Roosevelt's quote shows that even if you are in the cabinet, if you are a voter, a citizen, a supporter of the president, it is your patriotic duty to criticize the president. Now, before you give me the party line bullshit about you guys blindly supported Biden, I would just tell you that there are things that he is being criticized for to this day. None more than when people were asking him to step down in the presidential run last year. Moral of the story is, no matter what side of the aisle you are on, it is your duty to criticize when things need to be criticized, especially when your constituents are calling for it. All athletes out there, normalizing this president will not be tolerated in any way, shape, or form. Even if you have the best of intentions, it's not going to go well. Currently, there is major shade being thrown at Eagles star running back Saquon Barkley. He recently was golfing with Sweet Potato Schmittler and got major blowback. I'm going to read this how he typed it out. LOL, some people are really upset because I golfed and flew to the White House with the president. Maybe I just respect the office, not a hard concept to understand. Just golfed with Obama not too long ago and look forward to finishing my round with Trump. Now you get out my mentions with all this politics and have amazing day. First and foremost, proofread. Second of all, and I know I keep saying this, read the room. If it was literally anybody else, I could understand that concept, Saquon. But this man is having the administration take people off the street, going after universities, news networks, etc. Not to mention the team you played for, the last time they won the Super Bowl, they said, "Nah, fam," to the invite to the White House. Did we forget what happened with Colin Kaepernick and anybody else that took a knee during the national anthem? The peaceful protests that the Red Hatters were going insane over a handful of years ago? This man wouldn't piss on you if you were set on fire, Saquon. He called all NFL players bastards if they took a knee during the national anthem. You can respect the person occupying the office, but only if it's somebody that is deemed worthy of respect. I can understand your sentiment if the person who occupies the White House right now had any sense of dignity and honor, but he doesn't. Shaq decided to shake hands with the piece of shit. He got blowback. So if you want to golf, chat, hang out with a wannabe dictator, you go right ahead. But expect the disrespect in return. To the fine people of Canada, what's it like being happy after an election? Asking for a friend. Okay, like Fox is having a hard time trying to spend the first 100 days. Accomplishments: declassified the JFK files, ended federal support for paper straws, ended production of the penny. And Stephen Miller apparently is practicing for his school picture. Out of all the things that you could have spun, this is the best you got? They are so desperate. But I gotta admit, it's funny to watch.
Any semblance they had of comfort went out the window when 20 men armed to the teeth busted through it Thursday morning.
I don't know who they were. They had guns. It was dark. All the lights were off.
They were federal agents, Marissa says, with the U.S. Marshals, ICE, and the FBI.
And I kept asking them, like, who are you? What are you doing here? What's happening? And they said, we have a warrant for the house.
They ordered Marissa and her daughters outside into the rain before they could even get dressed.
They wanted me to change in front of all of them, in between all of them.
The thing is, the suspect names on that search warrant were not Marissa's or anyone in her family's. They were, however, names listed on mail still arriving at the house. Former residents, perhaps.
We just moved here from Maryland. We're citizens. That's what I kept saying. We're citizens.
She says they didn't care.
We weren't criminals. Why were they treating us like criminals? We were.
A Haitian woman has died in ICE custody. A 44-year-old Haitian woman, Marie-Ange Blase, has died in ICE custody in South Florida in Pompano Beach. Now, according to the official...
We have become the monsters. Cruelty is the policy.
I wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshop. So let me.
That was Photoshop. Terry, you should know that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Don't look at his hand. He
had MS-13. He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had
He's trying to move on. He's literally trying to move on.
This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're
in your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
Oh my God, that was such a glorious disaster. This is what he is referring to. That is Arial font, and it's clearly Photoshop. He is either lying, or he is literally the dumbest human being on the planet. And as I've stated in a previous video, we can do the same thing. This doesn't mean I'm a gay. This 1-3 refers to the amount of moonshine I've had. Shout out to Terry for this interview, challenging Donnie to stuff that is objectively true or objectively false. He is trying to go to the next topic, and he keeps going back to these stupid tattoos. Look at the knuckles. Look at the knuckles. He was challenged, and he went into full toddler mode. That's not a strong man. That's a crybaby.
You'll be back. Soon you'll see. You remember you belong to me. You'll be back. Time will tell. You remember that I served you well.
We need a new fucking president, and we need one now. A new fucking president. A new fucking president now. I have a Trumpy government, and I need relief now. Call J.B. Pritzker.